Renegades of Long Beach Roller Derby, and you're watching MoonKILL Radio. Woo! Woo!
MoonKILL Radio, back with what's on the slab, and for those that know me, they probably wondering why I haven't done one yet. So this is our first one. We'll get to it. First, let me say how you guys are doing. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are staying safe and healthy. Everything going on, hopefully we'll get back to normal life and seeing live acts and mingling with each other and shit like that, you know. And when we get to that, hopefully we'll have a lot more stuff going on with us. We want to do different stuff, and we want to do panel discussions and different things, you know what I mean? But, I want to interact with people, man. People, sitting next to me, this and that. Online's cool, and it's there. That's what it's there for. But, we want to get people, involved and, in my face. I want people in my face. But, yeah, check us out, man. Check out our info. So all this time we've done music reviews, and we've tried to go through our catalog, and I know I've said it many times before, so this is our first album review of this band, and I know it's the first, and you're probably thinking, shit, man, it's the first one you've done? Wow. I've done all these reviews. I don't have years of doing reviews, but this is the first time I've done one on this particular band, which is my favorite band of all time. As much punk and indie and post-punk and new wave that I love, and jazz and hip-hop and R&B and shit, my favorite band of all time is, and again, if anyone saw the Captain Beyond one, they will know this one is a retired record, even though it's not an original. I don't know if it is. Not sure. But it is my favorite band of all time and my favorite album by this band. And yes, it is Rush, and it is Hemispheres. 1978, Rush's Hemispheres. This is a picture disc of it, but that's the cover. And yes, my favorite Rush album. Permanent Waves is close second. But see, and then after that came Moving Pictures. But without this one, there would be no Permanent Waves. Without Permanent Waves, there would be no Moving Pictures. They admit to that in their documentary. Even though they said, Rush themselves, or Gately says, this is the one that broke the camel's back as far as themed and epic songs and long songs. This was the one that they were just like, okay, we're done. We're doing this album, we're finishing it, and they got through it, and we're done. We're done with that. We're done doing those songs. Even though they did do some long songs, Permanent Waves did have long songs on it, and the last long-ish song that they ever did that I can remember off the top of my head was Camera Eye, which was on Moving Pictures. That was like a 7-minute song, 8-minute song or something, whatever it was. But they weren't doing any more thematic albums. Didn't have to, honestly. Yeah, maybe, hey, who knows? It's all a woulda, coulda, whatever, I mean, maybe they could have done another one, and it would have been just as good or better. I don't know. But they didn't. So I have Hemispheres, and I am a fan of all their albums, even the ones that I really don't care for, like Hold Your Fire and Power Windows. I still know them, and I still have them, but not a big fan of them. But this right here is the gem of albums. This embodies everything Rush was about before hitting that 4-minute rock song stride. You know. And yes, I say that like they, Neil Peart made a mention. They became Rush with moving pictures. Yeah, pretty much they did. As what became moving pictures, as became what became Rush. Not, and it's cool. They're a progressive rock band. It's what you can't knock a progressive rock band for progressing. So you just don't. Sometimes you just don't like the way they're progressing. That's it. But Power Trio doing progressive rock, which is not an easy thing at all. For one, that's what makes them even better. Okay. Other bands have multiple members. Yes had 5 members ish. Genesis had, in their top progressiveness, did have 5 members. Peter Gabriel singing, Phil Collins singing on drums. The other 3 guys doing their thing. So a lot of these bands, the only other band that was a power trio, not really a power trio, but was a trio, was Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Okay? But they didn't rock like these guys did, man. I'm sorry. They did rock. I love Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and they got a lot of good stuff out. But, yeah, they didn't rock. So, this one, I compare, for anyone that has never heard Rush, it's not a easy thing to listen to for a lot of people, and I admit that, totally admit that. Some people don't like Geddy Lee's voice. Some don't like the music because it's just whatever, But you get a lot of hard rock. Some people say slight heavy metal, but not too heavy metal at all. Some of the earlier stuff could be, beginnings of, or helping involve. But we went through that with the Judas Priest one. But really hard rock. So where Genesis and Yes were more just progressive rock and had a lot of folky stuff, it's not. These guys took most of that folkiness out of it and jammed in some hard rock and riffs and playing and screaming. You know what I mean? So they were your progressive, again, that's why they toured with bands like AC/DC and UFO and those guys. They weren't playing a lot with the other bands. They played a lot with the hard rockers, Ted Nugent's, Kiss, those guys, because they could just, rock your balls off. So this was before they got super huge, of course, with the Permanent Waves album. But for a lot of, of course, old timers, this is one of the best albums they ever did. Let's just get into it, man. 1978, Rush, Hemispheres. Again, side 1, Hemispheres. Cygnus X1, Book 2. Again, power trio. Alex Lifeson on guitar. Plays guitar and does some synthesizer work with his feet. He did. Give the man credit. Geddy Lee, bass, vocals. Only vocal. Alex Lifeson did background vocals, but not much at all. So basically, Geddy Lee, bass, vocals, all synths, man. All synthesizers. Basically all synthesizers, with, all Geddy Lee. Neil Peart, rock god, drum rock god, of course. Anyone wants to talk shit about best drummers all time, blah, blah, if you're going to talk all drummers, then, nobody beats jazz drummers because they're just too fucking good, So you never put them in the same category. You're whatever, you're Billy Cobhams and shit, and Chico Hamiltons and, of course, all the old timers, Buddy Rich and all those guys, When it comes down to rock drummers, my money, no one beats this guy. Nobody's ever touched him. Nobody's this fucking good. Was this good? Sorry, I said it before. John Bonham was nowhere near this good. Not. Again, guys can crucify me in the comment section. It's all good. And, I mean, he was like me. I'm sure they were all fans of Zeppelin, the same way I am. But, again, give Bonham something. Zeppelin didn't make that kind of music to let him, spread his wings and show shit like the way this band did, or the way Bill Bruford did in Yes, or King Crimson. You know what I mean? Or, Danny, whatever his name is, in Chicago, which is another one of my favorite drummers, or Bobby Caldwell and Captain Beyond. They made music that let the instrument, the players spread their wings in those songs. Zeppelin didn't. They were just a full-on blues rock band, heavy guitar work, and that's it. That's what they were. Not saying Bonham could have never achieved all that, and that he couldn't do it. Never showed it. That's not the music he played. And again, all the arguments of, he hits so damn hard doesn't do nothing for me, man. Again, I put a caveman with some drumsticks behind a drum. He's going to do the same thing. That don't show me nothing. So, rock drummers, this guy, top of the food chain, man. Sorry, top of the food chain. There's solid drummers, your Paul Rudds, your Ian Paces, who are great at what they do, But again, you got your Bill Brufords, Phil Collins, another one that is ultra amazing, but he doesn't get the recognition because he became Mr., Susu Studio and Lion King singing and Disney movie making song, that pop jazz stuff. He became that, but you go back to those Genesis albums, he was fucking amazing. Great drummer, man. Awesome. I'm sure he still is. I heard his son's awesome, man, who's playing in Genesis, I think. But again, this one, Cygnus X1, Hemispheres, side 1, the whole side, theme album. The first 2-3 minutes, best music of my life. When they did the R30 tour, and they went through each song of each album up until Permanent Waves, they did the first 2 minutes of this of side 1. I've never heard that before in my life. I wasn't old enough to go to the shows back then. I was barely born when it came out. I didn't see him until Signals as a little kid, but they never played that before that I heard, and I teared. I choked up. I teared. I was like, first time I heard Dio sing Stargazer, I cried. I was a little baby. I cried, like the most beautiful thing I ever heard in my life. The angels came down, blah, 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 blah. So again, a song like that, no airplay. You're not getting airplay. All you're getting is the hardcore Rush fans playing it to death. Hard rockers. Real spacey tune, Again, you have to break down Neil Peart's lyrics, that I really don't even get into a lot. I can sing them, but I don't really listen and break down what he's singing about, or I just sing along, that's it. I focus more on the music, but some of the lyrics are cool and they're trip to listen to, but he does sing a lot about a lot of social issues and different things like that, even on these old records, you just have to listen to him, like Farewell to Kings. Listen to Farewell to Kings and make your own story about that one. But this is side 1, again, 20 minutes, 18 minutes of just to me, perfect heavy rock, progressive heavy rock. Some screaming. Yes, Geddy's got a high pitched fucking voice, and then some of it's, and again, for me, I'm biased. I love it to death. But the first 2 minutes are some of the best musical passages, just instrumental passage. And then just, again, they go through the different segments, man, and it all ties in together. It's so good. Just that one side, man, is fucking awesome. Yeah, see, this is the back cover. So here's all, this is Hemispheres, and this is all the, part 1 Prelude, part 2 Apollo, and, all these different, blah, 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 blah. So side 2, one of the best deep, and it's not even a deep album cut, man, but one of the best, liked songs by a lot of old fans, Circumstances, which is great. just a classic, just hard rocking tune. But the best part, one of the best parts of that is he sings in French, man. Like, part of the song is in French. I didn't even know that until, like, years later. I was like, what the hell is he saying? And you go and figure out what he's saying. Like, what language is this? And you're like, whoa, that's French. Plus, what is it? Plus a mem? Yeah, something like that. Plus a mem shows. And he basically says the same thing, then he says it in English. But the fact that he says it in French, that's fucking awesome. French Canadians or whatever. I don't know. Again, Rush, Canadian band. After Circumstance, of course, is The Trees, which is another fan favorite. Just a quirky little tune. Again, you can make out the lyrics on your own. According to Neil Peart, it had nothing to do with government and all that other stuff. It was just a story about the trees. That was it. But people made it out, people can make it out to be, it's like a 2112, a little guy against the masses, or the little ones versus, the underdog versus the big dog, the same thing with like Jacob's Ladder, it's like about the clouds and shit, you know what I mean? But like that one more on the like 2112 tip, so people made it out to be like a political thing and about the government. And the last time I heard him speak about that, he was just like, nah, it was not. It's just a story about the trees, and the song, the axe come and levels everything out, So, again, take a. That's what a D. Snyder say. That's the best part of the audience is you can interpret it for yourself. When he told the senator or Tipper Gore's husband, hey, if Tipper Gore found masochism, whatever, if she wanted to find it in my lyrics, she found it. There you go. But that's not what he was talking about. But if she wanted to find it, she done found it. Same thing. You listen to Trees, you want to take it political, go for it, dude. That's the beauty of interpretation and your own personal opinions. And then you end the album with the 9, almost 10-minute epic, classic, one-of-a-kind La Via Strangiato. I'm going to take this out for a second. I haven't taken this out in years. Yeah, so both sides the same thing. Okay. But La Via Strangiato. And I'm glad that they had on the for anyone that didn't see the documentary, or for those that did, either or, as being a lifelong Rush fan, and I don't give a shit about what they were wearing when they made these songs and shit like that, or what handkerchief he was blowing his nose on. I don't get into details like that. All play the damn cuts. Let me hear them. Let me jam out to them, and that's it, dude. If I learn little tidbits, cool. But I'm not into all that stuff. But La Via Strangiato, what I loved about that one is, especially in the documentary, is when they had Mike Portnoy, who was another great freaking drummer. Used to be Dream Theater. Now he's in like 100 bands, right? He makes mention like YYZ's cool, and YYZ is a great song. It's a great song, but this was a benchmark. This was it right here. I love YYZ. I love moving pictures and all that stuff, but this was the cut. If you could play this with any kind of if you could just play along with it, that's all you needed to know. And I forgot who said that also in the movie. That's all you needed to know, just to basically play everything else. Yeah, that's saying a lot from a biased Rush fanatic. Yes, but La Via Strangiato was the benchmark of drumming. Even after YYZ came out. I'm sorry, dudes, for all you, and I love to pick on new Rush fans, who don't listen to these albums as much and they're stuck on the hits and shit. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, dude. This is the benchmark of drumming. This album to me is the benchmark of drumming. But that song in particular, and it starts off with the guitar, more like a flamenco guitar, and he just jams the shit out of it. Boom. Then he comes with the electric guitar. Peart comes in with the hi-hats. You got the synths coming in, and everything's building and building and building and building. Then they go into the main part of the song, and they're jamming that shit, and he's just going bananas. Then they break it down, and they break it down where it's kind of spacey. You get like a space rock kind of sound to it. And Alex Lifeson goes into his like little solo where it's kind of mellow. You could probably tie in a little blues to it, but not as much. Not as bluesy, but it's just good, and he's going with the flow. Geddy's on the synths. And then it's just like a progression building the song back up. And there's those little parts they do, man, where, Peart does a little drum roll, his drum fill. And then they do, these other parts. And then Geddy does his little bass part with Neil Peart in the background. And it's like, holy shit, man. Even for a bass player, and I'm not a bass player by any means, or a guitar player, and I don't think Alex Lifeson gets enough credit. He does now, I think, because of the documentary and the more, they're in the Hall of Fame. So I think he gets more credit now than he ever did for being a guitar player. But if you go back to a lot of them old records, man, he did a lot of weird shit. Guitar playing. He did a lot of weird stuff, that just, the guy's a phenomenal guitar player, man. I don't think he got enough credit, but it's like, dude, to be in this band and play and do what they did, and you got the best rock drummer of all time, you got the best rock bassist, of course people have arguments, of course, but at least one of the best rock bassists of all time. You're in that band, you gotta have your chops down to be in that band. So he's no slouch. He just never got the because guitar and rock, blah blah, Pages, Hendrix, blah 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 blah, But Alex Lifeson, the underrated guitar player, been for years. The bass playing on here is great. Again, La Via Strangiato, one of the drum benchmark that will, challenge any drummer to play that, man. Ridiculous, man. I don't care what anyone says. You're stupid. That fucking song rips front to back. I'm not saying the whole album does for you. It does for me. It's my favorite album. But this, again, if anyone who loves the later Rush and the more basic rock Rush that came about from Moving Pictures on, it wouldn't have happened without this record. To me, this is like, I compare this to like A Justice for All. They did that, and it was like, shit, we got to go a different direction, and I love Rush after this album, unlike Metallica, because I really did not like, and I still don't, Metallica after Injustice for All, but this was the epic, most progressive freaking album that they did. Same thing with Just for All. It was epic. Every song was long. It was heavy, dark, pissed, and it was just good. Okay, still young bucks at this point, but burnt out on the long songs. Rush's Hemispheres, 1978. Give it a listen, and if not, listen to La Via Strangiato. If you love progressive hard rock, this is it for you. If you've never heard it before, but again, you play that. If you're a drummer, play that next to YYZ. YYZ's good, man. It's great, but it ain't La Via Strangiato, man. By no means. Yeah. So that's my first Rush. Don't know if I'll do it many more, but that's my album review of my first Rush album review, and it's not the live album. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys dig it. Give Rush a shot. I know a lot more people do because they're cool to listen to now. They weren't back then. not for the mainstream or any nothing. You know, they were hated. Music geeks loved them. Music nerds and hard rocker stoners loved them. That's about it. You know, and there wasn't as many back then as there is now. That's for sure. But there you go. What's on the Slab? MoonKILL Radio. Rush Hemispheres. R.I.P. Mr. Pert. That's I cried when he died. I'm sorry, man. I did. Lifelong idol. You know. Yeah. But there you go. Check it out. Check us out. Check everything we got out. Check our bands out. Check it out. And then check out the next one. All right. MoonKILL Radio. What's on the Slab, man? Hopefully we'll get some of you guys picks in here and doing this. All right. Take care. Take care of yourselves. Stay healthy and safe. Right. Till next one.